Thank you, Laura. Welcome to Treaty 4 lands, territories of the Cree and homeland of the Métis Nation. The Ottawa REDBLACKS enter for the second week in a row with a chance to clinch a playoff berth for the first time since 2018. But this week, they do it in Saskatchewan, one of the toughest places to win on the road in the Canadian Football League. Marshall Ferguson alongside Glenn Suter. Britt Dort down at field level for us here throughout the afternoon. Rockpaul Armstead had an unbelievable Riders debut.
Yeah, he went off in his first game as a Saskatchewan Roughrider against the Calgary Stampeders, rushing for 207 yards on 25 carries. Today, he faces the team that cut him. What does Armstead have for an encore in green and white? For Ottawa, they make a change at quarterback. Starter Drew Brown is out. Jeremiah Masoli gets his second start of the year. In his first, it was versus Calgary. He threw for 254 and got the win.
Bob Dice has got some history, of course, with the Saskatchewan Roughriders as he spent a series of years, including being an interim head coach in 2015 with the club. And Corey Mace very much looking forward to playing here at home. A bit of a string of home games for the Riders as they look to make their playoff push, of course, and try to get some wins against teams that are above 500 as they snapped a 7-game winless streak, beating Calgary 37-29 last week. They'll try to double down here today at Mosaic. CFL on CTV is the opening kickoff return across the 30-yard line. Mario Alford at the handles, as always in the return game here. 19-yard return, and out comes number 7. High praise from his coach this week after just 18 pass attempts.
Yeah, just 18 attempts, but he completed 16 of them for 248 yards and a touchdown. Great balance in the play calling last week against Calgary with a strong running game by Armstead, and Harris playing off of that.
55, 52, and 2 now for Trevor Harris. One of those ties, of course, with the Ottawa REDBLACKS. One of them, and it was Saskatchewan earlier this year in a 22-22 tie against these REDBLACKS. First snap from scrimmage. Harris fakes the inside run, flips it to the outside, and the first touch of the ball game, Kean Schaefer-Baker rolls his way across the 50-yard line as we take a look at the Riders' offense.
They get Jacob Brammer back at right guard. That's a change on the offensive line, and Armstead, again, 207 yards in his debut as a Saskatchewan Roughrider, and he's playing against his old team, the team that cut him loose. See if he can maintain his concentration, keep his discipline, and still perform like he did last week.
More than 600 yards on 125 carries with the REDBLACKS before they let him go back on September 3rd. And he lines up here alongside Trevor Harris with a fresh set of downs. They do go to Raquel, and he gets stacked up as Baron Miles leads the Ottawa defense. That they have to get plenty of hats to the football they did there.
Yeah, Onyeka starts at defensive end for Bryce Carter. He is out again. Real young linebacking core. In fact, Davion Taylor is now the veteran in his 5th straight start, and he's only got the 5. And Money Hunter starts at free safety for Alonzo Adai.
Just a mash unit at free safety right now, Glenn, with the REDBLACKS free safety. As Alonzo Adai out, had some other injuries in the return game last week. Ty Cranston out with a back, so they put Money Hunter back there. As Harris stares it down, looks outside. That's complete at the Ottawa 50, breaking across the 40 and being pushed out of bounds all the way at the 30. Keyshawn Johnson onto the stat sheet for the first time today. His 41st catch of the season and a gain of 26.
You know, quarterbacks love this when they can throw that 5. You know what I'm talking about. You can throw that 5-yard curl and have your receiver break a tackle or spin outside, get that open space, and pick up as many or more yards after the catch as he does running the route.
Smooth route runner, getting open with ease that time against man and making the REDBLACKS pay. The opening possession of the ball game here for the Riders, already deep into Ottawa territory. Now they'll hand off once again, and Raquel, second carry, nothing doing. Flying in from that Sam linebacker spot, it's Bennett Williams with the tackle.
Yeah, when you look at these young linebackers, I think it's quite interesting. Davion Taylor, you got Tyrone Verretta and Bennett Williams at linebacker for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, and you know what can get them as young linebackers? Play action. Get them to jump, get excited, want to be a big part of the run stopping with Armstead, and get them in play action.
It's wild how fast they've got young with the injuries to Santos Knox and to Darius Pickett. As Harris on 2nd and 9 goes to the outside. Raquel makes the grab and is brought down in the open field. Back-to-back plays. Bennett Williams in his first year out of Oregon makes the play.
Yeah, real nice tackle, and that'll give you confidence as a young guy. For Bennett Williams, it's just his second. Oh, excuse me, he's heading out in that direction. It's just his second start in that linebacking core. Again, young guys want to fly around. They want to make it happen at the line of scrimmage, and I'm sure Trevor Harris will go to some play action, see if he can bring them in tight and throw it in behind him.
So out comes Brett Lowther. 99 career games as of this week, 94 with Saskatchewan and 4 with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who drafted him from 35 yards away. Lowther makes good, knocks another one through the upright, so an early 3-0 advantage for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, as Jeremiah Masoli getting the start, coming in 2-5 against Saskatchewan. He'll look to rectify that today. A rare opportunity for Masoli in red and black. There is the starter for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, 11th year in the Canadian Football League, but this is just his 7th start since the opening week of 2022 after signing with the REDBLACKS.
Yeah, full circle for him. This is where the injury happened here at Mosaic, and Jeremiah Masoli is in his second start now this season. That first start was against Calgary, threw a touchdown pass, 254 yards, and got the win. And I think there was a lot of people in the entire country that were real happy for Jeremiah Masoli, and the comeback complete.
His first touch of the ball game, rips it outside. As this will go across the 40, it's Kalen Leyburn getting his hands on the football for the first time. As a gain of 3, maybe 4. We take a look at the Ottawa starting offense.
Yeah, one change on the offensive line. Jacob Rubio played left tackle for Dino Boyd. That's the one change. They do get Khalil Pimpleton back in the lineup, and remember how explosive he can be. He could take a hitch screen to the house in a hurry. Hardy's their leading receiver, but Pimpleton really adds a outstanding breakaway weapon for this offense.
Line him up at the bottom of your screen, isolated right now. Across from Marcus Sales as Masoli looks to throw, rolls to his right, and flips this one away. Pressure on immediately in the backfield, and so after Saskatchewan drives the length of the field, gets a field goal, it's a 2-out for the REDBLACKS.
Yeah, all-out blitz from Saskatchewan. You're going to see Jameer Thurman on the blitz, the linebackers going. Pimpleton is open on the crosser, but because the blitz came from that side and it was Thurman that led the way, Masoli couldn't find the crosser. The blitz got there first.
Richie Leone comes out to send this one away from his own 30-yard line. Alfred stands back on a high spiraling boot, heads towards the sideline and corners him after a punt of 48 yards on the play, as the Saskatchewan Riders finally ending that 7-game winless slide and trying to clinch a playoff spot for the first time since 2021. Trevor Harris and all of his tools get the football back when we return. Well, imagine getting paid to be a starting quarterback in the CFL, and you got the best seat in the house for most of the football game. That's what Trevor Harris did last week.
Yeah, not many times you see quarterback in our league just throw it 18 times in a game, but when you got the run game going and you've got that balance, why go away from it? 485 net yards against the Calgary Stampeders, 244 of those running the ball.
88.9%, highest completion rate of any quarterback in Riders history, who threw at least 18 times. That was Harris last week. We'll see what he has here against a 4-man rush. Quickly to the outside, hauled in, but it's good enough for a first down after the tackle, as we see the balanced Saskatchewan Riders after the Sean Bain Jr. catch.
Yeah, you see Mark Mueller is the guy calling the plays and has decided, you know, when he goes to that kind of balance and you have 244 yards rushing, you know Ottawa coming into this game that's their #1 goal, especially on first down. Stop that run, and that's why I truly believe that you'll see Trevor Harris go play action on first down a ton.
See how much Saskatchewan can mix it up here and use Raquel Armstead's performance from last week against.
Yeah, exactly.
This young Ottawa linebacking core that you talk about, Suits. They'll go with a toss here and trying to drive the legs. Once again, that Ottawa defense doing everything they can to get as many bodies as possible there. Lorenzo Malden and Michael Wakefield the first on contact there.
Armstead's average was 8.3 yards. Now, he had a couple over 30, so, or at least one. I think his longest was 39 against Calgary.
But 8.3 a hack is
yeah,
you're going to win a lot of football games.
You will take that.
Certainly controlled the football game against Calgary. Bit of a slower start for him here today, but trying to add on to his season-long tally with Ottawa and Saskatchewan. Harris looks left, goes left. Caught on the run. Ball came out. Back on top of it as Duncan Busby gets his 4th catch of the season, filling in for a Joe out with a knee injury.
Yeah, with the Joe out, an opportunity for Duncan Busby to do his thing. Got his feet wet a little bit in that Calgary game with 3 catches. Had a nice 27-yarder. Good hands there to go up and make the catch, and then he's got to seal the deal.
3rd rounder from this year out of Bemidji State into the Riders lineup. Looking forward to his opportunities here as Harris double catches the snap. Now looks over the middle. And that one was a little sloppy from start to finish, off the mark for Keyshawn Johnson.
So there's an example of play action on 1st down, and this with Armstead, the way he's played. Well, he was supposed to go to the play action. There was a fake there made by Trevor Harris. And even with the fake and the running back going the wrong way, he still pulled the linebackers towards the line of scrimmage.
When you try to make a token fake be worth $1.
Yeah, sell it anyway.
So Harris with 2nd and long. Ottawa mixing up their look. They'll send pressure. Has to get rid of it. Harris, as he gets hit, throws it and couldn't get on the same page with Kean Schaefer-Baker. Was one-on-one with Money Hunter in coverage.
Down the seam, it was a hot route, and it was whether or not Schaefer-Baker could find it. Here you could see the pressure coming. They're loading the line of scrimmage, and they're sending the house. Can't block them all. Trevor Harris knows that, so he lets it go, puts a little air under it. Now Schaefer-Baker had leaned into Money Hunter almost like he was ready to make another move back outside, and by then it was too late.
And of course, the global punter sends this one away. The Red Blacks at various points have had 9 different people return the football this year. Punt or kickoff return. This time it'll be Tobias Harris. After a 42-yard punt, number 41 for the Red Blacks steps out of bounds up around the 30-yard line. As Trevor Harris, wishing he could have connected on this one, goes to the tablet immediately to sort it out. Thought they had an opportunity for a home run to Kean Schaefer-Baker. He's looking for his 4th touchdown of the year, but just couldn't get it done. Early 3-0 lead for the Roughriders. Jeremiah Masoli back in the lineup here today. Bit of a slow start with the 2-0, but really embracing the opportunity after he stepped in for Drew Brown last week at home.
Yeah, he's got some reps in the last 2 games. So, you know, it's not like he's coming fresh off the bench. I mentioned the 1 start against Calgary back in August, but last 2 games, he was out there for Drew Brown for his whole 2nd half.
Highest quarterback rating of any of the 3 that have played this year for the Red Blacks. As an inside run here goes nowhere. Here's the Saskatchewan starting defense on Mosaic Field.
So Brian Cox, a late scratch. Baldonado will play for him, but most importantly, I think for the Rider. Oh, excuse me. We'll get back to the defense in the very next snap. We showed you the offense already.
Baldonado jumping into the lineup, as you mentioned. Interesting one. Big, long, lanky, 6'5", 260 out of Pitt. In his 2nd year, a global by way of Italy. As Masoli looks at 2nd and 7. Quick rip this time. Justin Hardy makes the grab, pays the price. As he is hammered on the play, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders defense go ahead.
Yeah, here comes the D. So Brian Cox is out. Baldonado plays for him, but most importantly for the Riders, Anthony Lanier is back. He missed 7 games injured, back at that defensive end spot. In the linebacking core, no C.J. Rivas for this one this afternoon. So DeMarcus Fields comes down from halfback. Milligan is back, their big play guy, and Amari Henderson will fill in for Fields at that halfback spot.
Solely after the completion to Hardy, hands it off inside. And Kalen Leyburn churns the legs for 5 right between the tackles.
Yeah, you know that Kalen Leyburn would like to have a big game. I mean, he's going, they don't play against each other, but Leyburn has read the headlines and seen the social media, and Armstead this and Armstead that from last week, and he's playing against his old team, and that's the guy who replaced him.
Such a great shot from our CFL and CTV crew right there.
He's having a blast.
Party time on a Saturday.
Yeah. Don't party with that guy.
Snap comes up. Masoli, 2nd and 5. Tries to slip out Hardy into the flats. He does. And Hardy puts his head down, goes and gets the first down marker. As Hardy, the focal point of this Ottawa passing attack, came in with 115 targets already.
115 targets. He's in the backfield and then will shoot out. But watch how Jeremiah Masoli draws the rush into him, making sure that he pulls as many linebackers or DBs attention as he can, and then gets it out to Hardy. Hardy 2nd in the league behind Justin McInnes in receiving yards.
Fields chased him down, but not until it gets all the way to the Saskatchewan 53. Now Ackland settles it down, turns and knifes away from the former Red Black Adam Auclair in the lineup here today after jumping over in free agency, and Ackland on the stat sheet.
There's 2 different styles of throws from Jeremiah Masoli. The first one, he drew the defensive line linebackers into him and kind of threw it off his back heels, and then that one, he had to knife that in. There was a small window. He threaded the needle. You see 2 defenders there. Amari Henderson, one of them. Nice 15-yard gain to Ackland.
Inside 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. After a 2-and-out, the Red Blacks now 6th play of this drive. Hardy and Ackland go alongside Pimpleton to the top of your screen. That's where they'll go. Screen it out. Ackland stumbles and wrapped up. Great job. Amari Henderson flying down from the halfback spot to wrap up Ackland.
Yeah, with a lot of these screens and bubble screens, hitch screens to the outside, which a lot of coaches now are just kind of treating as extended runs, your DBs have to be tacklers. They have to come up and they have to want to tackle. They have to get up there and make tackles. Amari Henderson, great tackle there on Ackland. Always dangerous when you come in with that much heat, but he just blew that thing up. I'm not sure he meant to fall directly into Ackland, but got the job done. First and 2nd and 10. They'll screen it backside once again as Pimpleton gets a touch here, and again rallying to the football in front of a massive Rough Riders home crowd. It's Roland Milligan. Big time edge pressure coming free here to Jeremiah Masoli. Looked like that was DeMarcus Fields coming off the edge. And on this play, because the timing was off with that pressure getting there so quickly, Masoli just had to get rid of it. Ottawa averaged 30 points per game, went 3-0 in games that Pimpleton started and finished after he cracked the roster back in week 6. Lewis Ward will send this one wide to the right. So Alford gets his hands on it with plenty of turf around him. And in the land of the living skies, here goes Alford with plenty of green grass all around, crossing midfield and wrapped up down at the 41-yard line. Lewis Ward, one of the highest make percentages in all of CFL history, misses that one, and Alford jumps all over the opportunity. Watch the patience first from Mario Alford as we take you to commercial on this great patience. He misses. Mario Alford back there hesitates and then puts it into high gear. Goodbye. Just a beautiful rendition of the Canadian National Anthem here in Saskatchewan today, as it was Tegan Littlechief handling all of that. And of course, there are ceremonies throughout the day recognizing National Truth and Reconciliation Week as we head down to Britt Dort for the first time today with more. Britt?
Yeah, and there's something big happening with the players here on the Riders. They were helping members from the Northern Saskatchewan Football League take in a little bit of Mosaic Stadium yesterday as part of a 4-day camp that they do. They've been doing this for about 5 years, and they used to actually travel to Northern Saskatchewan for it with the Riders, but now they bring them out here because they said we want them to experience Mosaic Stadium. They're all in attendance for the game as well. Talk to Brett Lawther, who's been doing it since the beginning. He said, I love doing this every year. I look forward to it, and it's amazing to see these players, how much work and how much effort they have to put in just to play football where they are in Northern Saskatchewan. A real testament to them loving the game.
Yeah, thank you, Britt. A wonderful series of events that have been put on, and of course the orange uniforms have been used in warm-up here today, but for the first time they have the actual the logo, I should say, on the helmet. They had the uniforms with the chrysolambics on them during the warm-ups that'll be raffled off by the Saskatchewan Roughriders Foundation, with funds raised going to Indigenous programming, including the Northern Saskatchewan Football League. As you see them all in attendance today here, enjoying Week 17 CFL action. So
saw some big arms there too.
Well, a couple of linemen maybe working in the trenches for the Riders in the future. Trevor Harris, after the inside run for a gain of 5, rolls to his right, completes the pass. And Keyshawn Johnson's going to have to fight for the first down this time after the massive return by Mario Alford. They're trying to stay on the field, and it will be close to the first down marker.
Yeah, I would suggest close enough that they'd go for it anyway if they don't get it. Little escape lane opened up there for Trevor Harris. Yeah, really good on the league to do this in coordination, to get all the teams playing this weekend wearing a little orange with those great looking logos.
Bennett Williams down on the play for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, but yeah, completely agree. It's also, it gives you a chance to appreciate Indigenous culture and art as well, because these logos from coast to coast are gorgeous.
Yeah, fantastic.
Like it's hard to not want to have them all the time because they look so beautiful on uniforms across the CFL this weekend.
Yeah, very, very cool. And like I said, it's sometimes very difficult to coordinate every team with all their different agendas, but the league got it done this year for this weekend. Outstanding.
Britt will have more on the logos later on in the ball game. Right now, Shea Patterson plunges his way forward as the backup in Saskatchewan, handling some short yardage responsibilities. Once in a while, Trevor Harris stays in the ball game, but looks like Patterson's got the first here.
Shea Patterson got the start against Ottawa when these two teams met earlier in the season and ended in a tie, 22-all. He was the starter at that time. Trevor Harris wasn't available.
I remember watching the end of that football game, and I was watching it with a couple of people, and I said, why are we interviewing Shea Patterson in the post game? And they said, well, he didn't lose. And I went, yeah, but he didn't win.
Yeah, I know.
It's a hard spot to pick.
A couple of those this year.
Yes.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Trevor Harris with the toss. Michael Armstead outside one-on-one, breaks one tackle, and now tries to put his head down and get back to the 30-yard line. As Money Hunter coming down from free safety, and the unit as a whole keeps it to just a gain of 2 for Rockwell.
Yeah, this is how you try to stop a strong running game, is that you gang tackle. And gang tackle means everybody to the ball. Don't assume that your teammates are going to make the tackle. Go and make sure. Look at all those Ottawa jerseys flying all over the place trying to contain Rockwell Armstead.
Baron Miles, defensive coordinator this week, mentioned gang tackling, just trying to get as many bodies as possible because he knows Rockwell Armstead has that strength to run through arm tackles. Hasn't had a chance to get free yet today. Harris looking down the field. Sean Bain Jr. digs it out of the turf on 2nd and 8. Harris just feathered it over the top of coverage. And it will be another Saskatchewan Roughriders first down on a gain of 13. And the end of the first quarter of play. Trevor Harris and the Saskatchewan offense took it down the field, got a field goal to get things going, and we sit 3-0 right now on National Truth and Reconciliation Weekend here ahead of Orange Shirt Day. The numbers after 1 quarter of play, and it's not often you have a running back coming off a 200-yard rushing performance, but that's what the Ottawa defense has to handle today in Rockwell Armstead. Saskatchewan still giving him 5 carries in that first quarter, but being able to get as many people as possible to Armstead certainly feels like it's changed the tenor of this first quarter.
Yeah, you know that Ottawa defensively spent the week looking at that tape, and when you have a big game like that, it really is your resume, and that's what Ottawa wanted to focus on, I'm sure, going into this game, and focus on stopping the run, especially on first down. Just 18 yards for Rockwell Armstead in the first quarter. Now there's lots of football to be played, and they like those top 15 to 20 carries. All running backs like those. So
Tyron Freda, the middle linebacker, we'll have to deal with Armstead throughout the day. Right now it's Harris looking left, coming back right. Big collision in the middle of the field as Hunter came back and got it clean. Almost makes you wonder why they don't play Money Hunter at free safety more often when they don't have the injury concerns. But Kean Schaefer-Baker shaken up, and rightfully so after that contact.
Well, it looked like a clean hit. Schaefer-Baker on that slant knows it's coming. I mean, he's running a dig route right down by the goal line. He knows the safety's sitting in there, and it was a throw that Trevor Harris tried to thread the needle again, just behind the linebacking core, but he led with his shoulder, not his head. Schaefer Baker hung on to that, though.
He was close to it, but
actually,
officially
drop
incomplete.
it,
But yeah, certainly in a lot of pain. That slow-mo, you can actually see the football slide just out of his hands as he hit the ground because he was in a ton of pain at the point of attack for Money Hunter.
Yeah, let's go back and take another look, because I thought initially when we looked at it live that he may have hung on to that on contact, but Harris tried to look off Money Hunter by looking the opposite way. He had it up around his shoulder pad, but you saw it hit the ground as he went down. He's got to survive the hit and then the hit with the ground and the turf, and there's the ball out. So the right call made. Now you just hope that Schaefer Baker can rebound from that, looking at his rib area.
Yeah, I saw Cody Fajardo against the Red Blacks last week with something similar, where down around the goal line, just take a bit of contact and very obviously bothered, but you hope it's just the wind being knocked out of him, as Saskatchewan leaning on Schaefer Baker this year with 70 targets at this point up to date in this football game.
Well, in his last 2 games, he's 200 yards. I mean, 11 catches. He had a nice touchdown against Calgary Stampeders last week. So real important, especially in the red zone for Trevor Harris, is that target. Big target, catch the ball over the middle, and it looks like he'll be okay.
6'4", 205 out of Guelph in his 4th year in the Canadian Football League, and through all that with the injury timeout, Trevor Harris had an opportunity to go to the sideline and talk things over and scheme for 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. But we'll see where he goes with the football here. Ottawa shows a 4-man rush. They send it. Harris out quickly. Armstead in the flats. Tries to spin away. And a great tackle coming up from the corner spot. Elijah McGee. That's his 29th tackle of the season, and arguably the biggest thus far.
Yeah, putting together, he's only played 7 games, and you know, he putting together a really nice resume himself. McGee has 3 interceptions. That leads the Red Blacks, and really good tackle here in the open field. That's Armstead again, over 200 yards last week, and if he makes that one tackler miss in McGee, he might have a chance to go score.
Open field tackling feels like it was drilled at Red Blacks practice throughout this week, knowing who they were up against and also how Harris likes to get the football out of his hands so quickly. So Brett Lowther comes back out with Corsack holding, and he will put 3 more on the board. A 6-0 lead for the Saskatchewan Roughriders here at home. The Riders trying to get a victory against teams that are better than 500 for the first time since July of 2024. It begins slow but steady. There's the 3rd best CFL receiver over the last month. 326 yards, trailing only Dominique Grimes and Reggie Begelton. And of course, you saw this guy on the left last night. And here's the guy on the right today for you to enjoy.
Yeah, and that's up to date. That was Justin McInnes. Got the numbers from last night. He's over 1,200. Only 2 receivers at this point in the season at 1,000 yards. Hardy, one of them.
And this just in. They are talented. Is now Masoli. Deep shot over the top. Intercepted. Looking for Dominique Grimes on a vertical shot. And it's Roland Milligan back up to his old ways as the CFL's leader. And interceptions, grabs another off Masoli.
That's number 7. And for personal reasons, Roland Milligan wasn't with the team last week, but he's back in the lineup, and he just flat out makes plays. I mean, when you look at the entire season and you start to talk about who is the MOP at this point, Roland Milligan's name is at the top of the list as one of the guys that can win the MOP. And I'm not talking about defensive player, I'm talking about most outstanding player in the league.
36th takeaway for Saskatchewan. That leads the CFL. As Roland Milligan, by the way, his first ever game was against Jeremiah Masoli when he was a Tiger Cat. Had 6 tackles and a sack in that game against Jeremiah. Gets an interception here to add to his season tally as they go back to the ground game for the Riders offense, and that will get turned away after a gain of just a few.
You know, it looked like to me Roland Milligan was letting Grimes get in behind him. So Masoli thought he was open and just baiting him, just playing the football. Just go ahead and get behind me by a step and a half. I can make that up when the ball's in the air. That's when you know as a DB your confidence level is high, is when you're letting guys get behind you so that the quarterback will throw it to them.
Came out of that break, obviously wanted to take a vertical shot, but it doesn't pay off. Now Harris with pressure on, throws this one fading away. Big collision as well. And Money Hunter came over at free safety. That looks like Sean Bain Jr. And Trevor Harris concerned immediately down the field.
Take another look at it. Hunter roam in the middle. He goes down low as that ball's in the air.
Sean Bain Jr. being helped off the field here at Mosaic after having Money Hunter kind of run through his lower body. Bang bang play obviously here, Suits, but a bit of an awkward one for both.
Yeah, and I think the timing from Money Hunter was pretty good. I mean, there the ball hits his hands and that's when the contact is made. And it didn't look like to me, I've watched it a few times now in commercial, that Hunter was trying to submarine or hit low. He just took an angle that was a little bit off and then kind of leaned into it and fell over on his way through, trying to play the ball.
Both quarterbacks taking shots down the field here that have been unsuccessful for different reasons. The interception from Masoli, and Bain Jr. hurt now is a 46-yard punt to Tobias Harris, back in the lineup after missing 8 games since July 19th. And he gets what he can in terms of punt return yards. Jeremiah Masoli still trying to find the rhythm, and now he's got to regroup after that interception.
Yeah, took a shot. Sometimes taking a shot can be as good as a punt and also plant a seed in the minds of the defensive backs that you will take shots down the field. Get them to back up a little bit before the snap of the ball. I've said it before, but Matt Dunnigan always told me before games, never go wrong if you go long. And he was planting a seed saying, you better back up.
That sounds like something Matty would say. Handoff here, Kalen Leyburn smacked by Jameer Thurman, the middle linebacker, running sideline to sideline and holding it to a gain of just a couple.
Both these teams geared up to get the quarterbacks into second and long, and that means stopping the run, and Jameer Thurman leading the way there. Just nice scrape to the football for number 6.
Oh, Thurman didn't get there. Roland Milligan put his hand up to volunteer and go make a tackle. Number 0 back on the field for the Riders this week and all over the place here early in the second quarter. Masoli, 2nd and 9, looks to his right, corner ball up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Back-to-back possessions. Masoli has been picked off, and Saskatchewan trying to return its Marcus Sayles. He'll take a seat at the 43-yard line.
Marcus Sayles been making plays over the last 3-4 games. I mean, we're talking the knockdowns, interception, a couple of interceptions. This is the 3rd in the last 4 games, and he just baits this corner. His responsibility was the flat, which is from the line of scrimmage, about 10 yards deep. But he just let that corner happen and then sunk underneath it. Jeremiah Masoli didn't see it. Sayles has got the turnover.
See a little half-second there where Masoli's staring down Sayles, trying to pump him, trying to do anything to keep him down low so he could throw it. Sayles never budged, and Masoli still threw it. Leads to the interception. So Saskatchewan back on the field quickly. They go back to Raquel Armstead. Stiff arm, gets to the outside, tries to turn up field, and the second stiff arm attempt negated by Elijah McGee.
For Sayles, 3 passes defended. That's what I'm calling them now. They're not knockdowns if a DB doesn't. 2 interceptions in the last 4 games, so that's number 3 in the beginning of the 5th game in a row. So making plays at that opposite corner, opposite Deontay Williams in the short side with Roland Milligan.
You can see him laughing there to Deontay Williams on the bench going, yeah, I took 2 steps down.
Yeah.
Made him think.
And then baited that corner out. Dropped right underneath.
Harris on 2nd and 8. This time goes outside. Samuel Emelis spins across the 50, reaches the football out. Doesn't look like it'll be enough for the first down marker, so could be decision time for Corey Mace. Looks like the special teams unit is ready to come out, though, after a gain of 6.
Yeah, I would say that's a little bit long. You're looking at long 2 yards. Emelis does his best to try to spin out of this tackle, but again, that gang tackle priority for Ottawa defensively doesn't just talk about the run game. It's also those little hitch screens, quick curls.
Tobias Harris with a 93-yard kickoff return touchdown back last season. On the road at BMO Field in Toronto. That's where the Owls and the Argos will lock helmets coming up later on. A 54-yard punt is Tobias Harris with a flag down. Tries to get to the wide side and crosses the 15-yard line before he's wrapped up. And they'll sort through the penalty yardage.
This penalty would be an illegal block by Ottawa. They'll start deep in their own end. And
they're in the return. Illegal block. Ottawa, number 9. We'll go back half the distance. It's going to be first down for Ottawa.
I am going to completely jinx it, but our stats guy Dave Moyer just tells me that's the first penalty flag today. That's the very first penalty flag.
Well, it fits. Penalties this year are at the lowest level since 1974.
So should I knock on wood, or what do I do now?
Please, just break glass.
We don't want any more.
Step on a spider. What are we doing? It's got to be something to keep that going. Masoli, 2 straight interceptions. He'll throw from his own goal line underneath Jalen Acklin and across the 5-yard line before he is wrapped up and thrown to the turf. We see Sean Bain Jr. going with the cart, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're going to get thin pretty quickly here in the receiving corps when you look at the dressed roster for the Riders in this one this afternoon. Keon Schaefer-Baker took that hit. We'll see if he can recover from it. Looks like they're taking Sean Bain to the locker room. Do have Colton Hunchak, just signed this week, but gets thin in a hurry.
And Bain leading the team with 5 touchdowns as well of the healthy, active, dressed receivers today. As Masoli underneath, Dominique Grimes lost his edge and had to get out to at least the 15-yard line. And they'll spot it about half a yard shy, and immediately the punting team comes out for the Red Blacks.
Yeah, no hesitation there from Bob Dice. Even though they're inside, well, maybe it is a full yard, come to think of it. And this deep in your own end, he's not taking any chances. Although Mario Alford could change that in a hurry.
Saskatchewan does have the best starting field position in the Canadian Football League on average this year. And they should add to that here with Alford catching it at the 55-yard line after a 41-yard punt, steps out of bounds. And already in plus territory, there's Reichwell Armstead. A historic performance. He racked up 3 200-yard rushing games while he was at Temple. He did another one last week. We'll have more on him when we return to Mosaic. Rock solid Reichwell Armstead last week with a historic performance. With more, let's go down to Britt Dort.
Yeah, he actually told us that he hasn't had a game since college that he's rushed for over 200 yards. He also hasn't had a game since college that he's gotten the game ball. So a pretty exciting start for him here in the green and white. Asked him about the fact he gets to play the very team that cut him earlier this month, just his 2nd game as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. He said, I know everybody's hyping it up, but for me, it is just another game, and I'm very familiar with these guys. So we had to ask him about the familiarity. Are you going to be able to get past them, knowing that you know this defense, or are they going to be able to stop you knowing that they know you as a running back? He said, well, basically, it's going to be a matter of who can outdo one another, but he was very much looking forward to the challenge, and he wouldn't talk too much about the competition between the two, but you can see it here on the field tonight, guys.
Yeah, great throw here. Completed on 1st and 10 into Del Duncan Busby as they go to the air, but plenty of mind games going on in the backfield.
Yeah, and this is a nice throw and catch. And, going back to Armstead and just how it's a good test for him. There's a lot of talk about whether or not you know, there were issues off the field and why he was released in Ottawa, and this is a good opportunity for him to show that he can maintain his composure and keep his concentration on the job at hand and not go over there and start talking to the bench.
Well, Duncan Busby, 18 yards on that last play, again inside to Armstead. You have to say as well, the interior defensive line of the Red Blacks doing a really good job on top of getting help from all three levels of the defense so far today, but there just aren't many big holes to run through right now for Armstead.
Not yet. Yeah, not yet. They're going to keep with it. You know, after that game in Calgary, they will keep with it. Good to see Schaefer Baker back out on the field too. Absolutely.
After Sean Bain down, as we saw a couple drives ago. So Schaefer Baker back on the turf. And a 2nd and 7 here for Trevor Harris, applauded by his head coach Corey Mace this week for just staying steady. This time he goes hard count, gets a free play, and Harris can load it up and go wherever he wants, and it's dropped. Incomplete. Keyshawn Johnson had it fall to the turf, but Saskatchewan is going to take the penalty.
Offside, Ottawa, number 48. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still going to be 2nd down.
Into the neutral zone, didn't get back in time. So Harris knew he had a freebie there. Often the quarterback will try to deep shot, although you never are quite sure. Tell me if I'm wrong. If one of your guys moved first.
It's the scariest decision in all of football for a quarterback. Is it a free play? Is it not? I don't know. Rip it to the outside this time. Big collision. Did he hang on to it? No, incomplete. As Damon Webb got in and created enough of force that Colton Hunchak couldn't complete the catch.
Well, it was at the marker. He would have had the first down, but it's a nice hit to separate the ball from the receiver. Hunchak had his first chance in a green and white jersey, and Damon Webb said, not now, not this time. 3 interceptions on the season, tied with McGee for the team lead.
21 defensive stops as well, tied for the league lead with Willie Jefferson. As Lowther right now, the scoring motor, keeps on rolling for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 3 of 3. Lewis Ward missing in this end earlier on in this ball game. Crave presents a rare behind-the-scenes look at one of professional hockey's most iconic franchises, the rebuild inside the Montreal Canadiens. Stream now on Crave, presented by Bell.
And get the feeling like both these veteran quarterbacks that have throughout their journey, and certainly recently, have gone through some injuries, had to come back from those injuries. They're kind of rope-a-doping right now. They're walking around the ring and they're taking some shots deep, and they haven't quite got things going yet on track, but you know that's going to happen.
Masoli can be so methodical at times, just pick you apart. Other times, puts the ball in harm's way, and this time leaves it inside for another big collision. Leyburn will hang on to it somehow out of the backfield as contact came from Deontay Williams.
Well, he has to be on time. I mean, Mazzoli has to be on time with this secondary and the way they're breaking downhill. Now, you know, the next step for Ottawa offensively is to try some double moves. If you're breaking that quickly on quick outs, try a double move, but you need time to do that.
2nd and 7 from their own 43. Masoli. It's a 4-man rush, checks it down underneath, asks Leyburn to go and get it. And he will slide his way close to the 50-yard line. It will depend on the spot.
Only takes once, too. If Bob Dice and this offense can get Mazzoli just enough time to try and get a double move, slant and go down the seam, or an out and up, pump fake. If that secondary for the Riders keeps breaking downhill so quickly.
Go for it here as flags come up, likely lined up offside. You see him fly in from both. Yeah, we'll go against Saskatchewan. The deep passing game, so intriguing for the Ottawa REDBLACKS so far this year. You think about the weapons they have. Dominic Rhymes coming back, Jalen Acklin, Pimpleton, when he's been
offside,
healthy.
Saskatchewan, number 95. It's a 5-yard penalty. Makes it a first down for Ottawa.
First penalty against Saskatchewan. But Rhymes has been targeted 35 times down the field, 20 yards or more. Just 11 of 35, though. Like, they're really trying to get it going as we see lined up inside that 1 yard. But where will Ottawa find their offensive mojo with those deep shots?
Yeah, Masoli in his time playing only 4 of 18, 20+.
Anthony Gosselin, the fullback in here. He'll help pass protect. Is now wide open. And on cue, Justin Hardy running free through the secondary. Tackled at the 25-yard line. Hardy got free, breaking through coverage, and Masoli on point as we hit the 3-minute warning. A 31-yard gain sends us into the 3-minute warning. A nice tight spiral from Jeremiah in his return to Saskatchewan. Wrap up the first half when we return.
Saskatchewan defense flexing its muscles so far in the first half, but the Red Blacks, they are driving. Paul LaPolice, we'll hear from him at the half. He's got his all-CFL team to reveal. And yeah, I think we'll be talking that Riders defense.
Oh,
Impressive
we will.
So far.
Absolutely.
All right, back to Mosaic.
Absolutely.
All right, back to Mosaic.
Looking forward to seeing the halftime breakdown as Jeremiah Masoli and the Red Blacks offense breaks the huddle. He's 11 of 14, but 2 of those 3 incompletions into the hands of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 2 picks in that first half as they'll flop Justin Hardy over to the top of your screen. And Masoli hands it off inside. Kalen Leyburn on 1st and 10. That's a nice piece, but just before we went to break there, it was a wonderful route concept and a Justin Hardy running free through coverage.
Well, Pimpleton is the guy who's going to push it. This is what speed does for you. Hardy's running the corner route, short corner really, but Pimpleton's going to take the top off the defense, push him deep by 5 yards. You see that separation. The only defender deep here on that outside third is Amari Henderson, but he's got to stay back with Pimpleton. And there's the soft bop for Hardy. Nice throw and catch.
Found the spot, and Masoli was on point. What can he do here on 2nd and 6? Steps forward in the pocket, pressure on, rips away, but now he is going to go down. Brought to the turf. Caleb Sanders was the one that finally got it done.
Micah Johnson creates a problem in the middle. He starts drawing blocks and eating them up coming from that side. He's going to start to take guard and tackle down, and when he does that, big push down the middle. Now Masoli has to try to escape to his right. Lanier's trying to take some shots at him, and they finally run him and corral him into the arms of Caleb Sanders.
Second year at South Dakota State. All 4 of that front 4 were close. Any of them could have had a sack on that play.
Boy, Lanier is a big add to get him back off the injured list. Can play inside or out. Gives him more flexibility defensively. Excellent in 3-man pressure as well.
Lewis Ward with the rare miss earlier on. 70-plus yard return from Mario Alford. This time, Alford won't get a chance to touch it as Ottawa has their first points of the ball game.
Got to get those cords.
Got a show in Kingston. How about that? Rolling through the old hometown is the Saskatchewan Roughriders and their offense trying to get rolling to close out the first half. Just a 9-3 ball game right now. Harris begins outside, incomplete. As he was looking on the play for Keane Schaefer-Baker. Back into this football game, great to see, but wishes he had that one back.
Yeah, and after that hit from Money Hunter early on, maybe just taking a peek quick to look where the first defender's coming from. Yeah, that you see that heads turn before the ball was secured. Seen a few drops this afternoon in the first half here.
Roughriders 3 of 10 on 2nd down so far here in week number 17. Trevor Harris, pressure on, steps forward. Pumps, looks to throw. No, he'll use the legs, and Harris gets tossed down to the turf. 3 or 4 Red Blacks on the spot. Doesn't use the legs all that often, but as he's aged, picking his spots has become more and more important for Harris.
A little twist in the middle here opens up the run lane for Harris, and that's get 2 interior guys twisting and trying to get outside to containment. That opens up the middle. Harris doesn't run often, but you can tell there's a lingering effect from his injury that is, and probably the knee brace he's wearing, slowing him down a little bit.
Tobias Harris confused. They sent out the return unit and then had to send the defense back onto the field as Shea Patterson and the short yardage attack comes in. He'll head to the left-hand side, almost loses his foot, and now reaches it out. An adventure for Patterson. It'll move the sticks, but from their own 50, the Rough Riders went gambling, and it pays off, albeit not the most straightforward path.
Barely. He did. It was close. I mean, Patterson tries to get to the corner, and I believe it was Bennett Williams, the linebacker. No, it wasn't either. Take a look at exactly who got there to the outside to try and corral him.
How about the block by Samuel Emelis, sealing the entire edge?
Almost cut him off there.
Well, Trevor Harris, fresh set of downs, pressure on once again, and this time he will be sacked. So a loss on first down. Harris picks himself up off the ground and will have to play second and long.
Not a whole bunch of exotic blitz coming from Ottawa, but just little stunts up front with their four-man pressure. And after a real good game for the offensive line in Calgary, this one giving up a couple of hits on the quarterback.
Aiden John, first sack of the season, taken in the third round, 19th overall last year at a St. Mary's. Now Harris on second and long screens it back to Emelis, trying to get to the outside, and he'll be pushed out of bounds as DeAndre Lamont was there, trying to finish things off for the Ottawa defense that continues to find ways to make plays here to end the first half, as C.J. Colden also in on the tackle.
Very good defensive first half for Baron Miles' group. Message received in the gang tackling department.
About as good a first half as you could imagine, considering what the Saskatchewan offense looked like last week.
And you're looking at Armstead right now with 26 yards on 8 carries.
Very solid job on Armstead thus far. And Korsak with a wobbling spiral. Tobias Harris, after a 53-yard punt, crosses the 10, the 15, and wrapped up down around the 20. How about this for a Sunday nighter? My Bills! And Josh Allen up against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Sunday Night Football. Tune in 8:15 Eastern, 6:15 Mountain on TSN, and right here on CTV, of course. Went to that Monday nighter back against the Jags. Yeah. Didn't stay for the game, just went for the tailgate.
Yeah,
you know? Too late. I got a bedtime.
When my kid was in Nashville, that's all I did. I'd go down to the games and just hang out at the tailgate, and then go back to the honky tonk.
Half price parking in Buffalo if you leave before kickoff, by the way. Little sneak tip for everyone there. As an inside handoff here, Leyburn, his best run of the day, will be close to 10 yards. With 24 seconds left, and Jeremiah Masoli, a bit of a confusing first half as they likely look like they're just going to try and get out of the first and head it to halftime. But those 2 interceptions will be kind of the black mark on the first half. But all in all, I mean, having that many completions. Here the panel break it down for you coming up at halftime as he'll add another here. Jalen Acklin will be receiving it.
Yeah, they'll make their adjustments at halftime, as you know, and you saw one adjustment to that after the Marcus Sales interception. Instead of the corner and out pattern from the offense, they went with 3 guys. One guy in the flat, a deep route from Pimpleton, and that's when Hardy made that catch on the short corner.
Masoli does look to throw once again. And Leyburn, haven't seen him this involved in the passing attack for Ottawa. Trying to get the ball out of Jeremiah Masoli's hands, and that will be the end of the first half. Your thoughts on the first?
Well, again, I think these 2 veteran quarterbacks are kind of walking around the ring, taking a couple shots here and there, and not really getting any traction because of the play of both defenses. And I've said it many times, I'll say it again, defenses are allowed to win.
And Roland Milligan and the Saskatchewan defense making Jeremiah Masoli pay for some of those deep shots down the field. They are talented.
Wow, he gets his 7th. Roland Milligan, that leads the CFL. Not to mention he has 62 defensive tackles. 62 for DB. I mean, linebacker, yes. DB, wow. And 18 special teams tackles. Like, another big half.
As Britt Dort is standing alongside Roland.
Roland, when you come out here, you get your 7th interception on the season. You regain that lead at the top of the league. Tell us how you're able to get it done.
Just doing my job. Just being where I'm supposed to be at and just tracking the ball and taking it when I can.
Well, it's not just you. We saw Marcus Sales also get one here in the first half. So how does this defense remain dominant in the final 2 quarters?
We got to keep taking the ball away, giving the offense the ball back, and just dominate. Can't give them any freebies.
All right, looking forward to the second half. Thanks, Roland.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll send it back to Laura and the panel.
The numbers after the first half of play, 9-3 for Saskatchewan over Ottawa right now. The only number that matters, though, 1. That's how many wins the Red Blacks need in order to get into the playoffs. How are they going to do it? Here's Britt Dort alongside head coach Bob Dice.
Well, Bob, your team had 2 turnovers in that first half. You haven't found the back of the end zone. So how do you generate more offense here?
Well, we just got to execute. Guys are playing hard and the guys are working hard. We just got to make sure that we're doing the details that we need to take care of offensively, whether it be protection and locating the ball.
On the flip side, you have held Saskatchewan to just field goals for points, too. So how do you evaluate your defensive efforts right now?
I think our defense has done a good job. Like you said, they haven't given up majors. They had the ball in tough field position, and they focused in on the task at hand. And so they got to continue to play with the aggressive team-based defense that they played in the first half.
Thanks so much, Bob. Have a great second half.
Execution, taking care of the little things, the details. How deep is your route? The ball coming out on time for Jeremiah Masoli and for Trevor Harris on the other side. No explosions, really. And both defenses controlling the run in that first half.
Ottawa won the toss, deferred, and Saskatchewan got the ball to open things up in the first half, and so the Red Blacks will get the football here to open up the second half at Mosaic. 9-3 is your score, and Ottawa looking for the end zone. They have not held the lead in their last couple of games. It's been wire to wire. Wins and losses. Jeremiah Masoli trying to change that right now.
Have to have a short memory, and I'm sure you've been there. When you throw a couple picks in the first half, Milligan's done this to a lot of quarterbacks this season. This was a real nice play by Marcus Sales to slide underneath that corner route. And that's when the adjustment was made, and they did make a play to Justin Hardy down the field. So we'll see what kind of other adjustments this offense comes up with.
10 quarters now without holding a lead as they begin with a handoff. Kalen Leyburn pays the price on that one. It's some pushing at the end of the play, and a flag will come out. Saskatchewan is going to back up the Red Blacks here with an after the whistle altercation.
Rhymes get that one. DeMarcus Fields was in there. He's playing that strong side linebacker.
Ben Major is our referee. You see no numbers on the back of the referee uniforms. Entire officiating crew, they have the Every Child Matters insignia on the backside there.
There are 2 misconduct penalties after the play. Saskatchewan 22, Ottawa number 15. They both 15-yarders. They cancel each other out. It's second down.
So they'll offset instead of sending Ottawa backwards.
I think it's a good idea when they do this. I mean, you see Fields, he got pretty aggressive on Rhymes. Rhymes retaliated. They both were guilty there. Offsetting never happened.
If either of them have another misconduct, they will not be part of the remainder of this football game. As Masoli backpedaling, and then throws it incomplete. As Leyburn was the one trying to bail him out, but Jeremiah unable to get out of the pocket. And then the third 2 and out here for the Red Blacks.
We really haven't drawn it up or shown you. I think, Thurman has been a big part of the pressure packages, but I think Anthony Lanier is making a difference too. He's drawn some attention. That was on the left side of the formation offensively, guard and tackle, taking one guy, and Anthony Lanier out there.
Miles Brown with those quick feet, able to get the contact in at the end of the play. So many starters on these special teams units for both Saskatchewan and Ottawa as they prioritize it. Look no further than Roland Milligan being the league leader in special teams tackles as a standout, leading the CFL in interceptions as well. Let's take a look at Trevor Harris in his first half of action.
Yeah, not much different other than the turnovers. He avoided those when you talk about the interceptions from Masoli. No turnovers, no touchdowns, but 11 of 17, 108 yards for Trevor Harris, and had a few drops. I mean, you know, a couple plays made by Money Hunter to separate the ball, and did lose Sean Bain to injury.
And Sean Bain on crutches down on that sideline for Saskatchewan as he's just making his way out of the tunnel right now. And so with a brace on, it does not look like he's going to return. Meanwhile, Gary Johnson got called for offside in the first half, limps his way off to the Ottawa sideline. They begin with an inside handoff, and Armstead unable to go anywhere. The Red Blacks defense picks right back up where they left off in the first half as we take a look back at why Sean Bain is on those crutches.
Yeah, again, it was Money Hunter, and trying to give both players, or Money Hunter anyway, the benefit of the doubt on that, although very, very close to being a penalty for early contact and low contact on a receiver that was going for the football.
Not how he expected the remainder of his day to go, watching on from the sidelines. As this pass to the outside, and putting a shoulder down, real physical on the outside there is Del Duncan Busby. Sets the tone. Corey Mace mentioned this week that watching him in draft prep, he loved how physical he was.
And that's playing from the shoulders up on that pattern, because he basically runs this route when he sees the corner drop off to the deep outside third. Just sits there. 10-yard gain and a new set of downs.
Ottawa doing everything they can to bring down the 6'3", 210 body of Duncan Busby. Now Harris underneath. Right ball Armstead in the passing attack. In the flats. Picks up a gain of 8 on the play.
You always know when a running back is getting close to the sideline, he's not stepping out. It doesn't matter when it is in the game. It doesn't matter if it's home or away. It doesn't matter which running back. They are looking for contact, and they're going to go after you, because it's not just this play that was a good one on first down, but it's sending a message that you were going to be physical and the hammer, not the nail.
Baron Miles, defensive coordinator for the Red Blacks, pacing up and down that Ottawa sideline. As he'll watch on with Armstead getting another carry inside. 2nd and 2. It is a first down. Great quote from Miles this week where he just said, we coach the entire group, not just the starters. So we have a bunch of injuries, you guys. I get it. We're young all of a sudden, but everybody's been getting coached.
Yeah, they are young, and that's, you know, I think when you look at that linebacking core, that's really where they are. Although you've seen these guys make plays. Bennett Williams, a couple of good tackles in the open field. Money Hunter with some plays on Schaefer Baker.
Knows the frustration of coaching against Trevor Harris. Used to coach on the same team in Montreal with him, as Harris completes and moves the sticks once again. Samuel Emelis on the receiving end.
Samuel Emelis is the third receiver into the boundary, which you don't see a lot. I mean, teams will do it, but they just do a little change of position as they hit the line of scrimmage with that waggle. And when Emelis saw blitz, he was open for that first down throw.
Gain of 13 on the play. 1st and 10 for the Riders. Up until this drive, their best was the very first possession of the ball game. It went 44 yards. This one challenging close as they're on the 6th snap of this drive right now. Jet sweep goes to the outside. And that Requel Armstead that got jacked up on the edge. Heard a huge pad pop, and there's 2 Riders down all of a sudden.
Yeah, Emelis a little slow to get up there, I think, is one of them. leading this team in most categories. Talk about receiving core. 5 big plays over 30 yards. Haven't seen one this afternoon just yet, but 17 first down catches for Sam Emilus.
We will step away as Armstead gathers himself on the sideline and Samuel Emilus remains down on the turf in Saskatchewan. Right while Armstead into the injury, tending to see A.J. Ouellette, of course, the big splashy free agency signing, standing on the sidelines next to Corey Mace.
Watch the contact by number 4 here. He's creating havoc. Contact with Armstead right there, and Armstead goes down immediately. It looked like it's shoulder to shoulder contact there.
So Thomas Bertrand-Hudon is in, second year out of Delaware State. And rarely used. Just 3 carries so far on the season and 0 targets. Harris goes hard count and has the completion to Keyshawn Johnson, but if your starting running back is out and you're trying to get a couple of cheap yards, why not go with the veteran savvy?
Well, Baron Miles goes as soon as he sees those guys out of the lineup.
Procedure, Saskatchewan, number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
Emilus and Armstead. Then he says, well, now we're going to blitz. Now we're going to send a blitz and see if the other guys can either pick up the blitz and or be open for hot routes. And that's why Trevor Harris had that dummy call at the line of scrimmage. Ottawa declared their blitz, and then he was ready to throw hot. But we had early movement on the O-line.
Body had gotten Ottawa offside, but instead, now they'll play 2nd and 17. 5 receivers available to Harris. Little double move, pump to the outside, incomplete. Looking for Colton Hunchak on the corner route.
Both these quarterbacks just struggling to connect on the big play, the play down the field. You see coming right at you how that ball is thrown a little flat to the sideline, and Hunchak had run a deeper corner, and you see that, man, both these quarterbacks so close on a couple of these deep throws.
Well, this has been all of the points to date this afternoon for the Rough Riders. Brett Lowther, another field goal, 4 for 4. With 9:38 remaining in this third quarter, it's 5 field goals on the board between these two clubs, looking for a major, but Lowther continues to add to the difference. 11 of the 14 Saskatchewan games this year have been one-possession games, late decided in the final 3 minutes, and this isn't going to get it done if this becomes a one-possession game, if Ottawa can find any offense, Suits.
Well, both these teams kind of struggling offensively, you know, and I mentioned the first half, sometimes defenses can win and sometimes your offense is just off. And you can see the Saskatchewan offense in these clips are taking their turns. A couple of drops by receivers, and then that throw to Hunchak missed by Trevor Harris, who was very accurate against Calgary last week.
Dropped one there into Hunchak, into the shadows at Mosaic, couldn't complete it. So Ottawa gets the football back after the field goal from Brett Lowther, his 4th of the day. And now to the outside, just losing his edge on the run was that Kalen Leyburn. Have a collision at the end of that one as well as he slid down. Already saw Raquel Armstead for Saskatchewan, the starting running back, go to the sidelines. Leyburn stays in the game, heads back to the huddle.
Now keep in mind, we've seen some injuries for Saskatchewan for sure. I mean, especially in their receiving corps. Sean Bain, Hunchak, I'm sure they weren't really expecting to play that many snaps offensively in this one this afternoon. He just showed up. He was just here for a few days.
2nd and inches. Dustin Crum into the ball game. The starter last time these two teams played. Rumbles his way for the first down. 21 of 32 for 211 yards. And an interesting finish in the 22-22 tie, where everybody thought the game was over between these two clubs, and it rolled on and turned into neither team getting to go home with a victory.
I remember the command center being a topic of discussion after that game, especially in this province.
No doubt. Masoli back in for Crum. Pimpleton in motion. And Masoli hands it off inside. Patience this time from Leyburn. Had blockers out in front, but great rally from the Saskatchewan defense as we look back at what was, at least to say, an interesting first matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, Drew Brown had been injured, and it was Crum, and there was turnovers, and
it's
22
over.
all, and the game is over. But wait. Mission statement sent out by the command center, largely due to that game shortly afterwards. Now, the command center was involved again last night in Vancouver. Sure, that will be discussed.
Masoli taking a vertical shot. Acklin hung it right up into the area of Nelson Lacombo at free safety, coming down in his 4th year out of Saskatchewan. Nearly came up with the interception.
Well, Saskatchewan safety Nelson Lacombo is taking his turn now. These safeties are taking away the seam routes. Pressure up front. Again, Jameer Thurman causing some problems for Jeremiah Masoli. He doesn't have any escape lanes there, and that's Lacombo making the play.
Richie Leone with some pressure on that time from A.J. Allen. Second on Saskatchewan and special teams tackle after a 48-yard punt. And great coverage. Silas Stewart all the way down the field as the Saskatchewan defense. Nelson Lacombo, young, talented Canadian, making a play on the football. Knocks it away from Acklin, and the Ottawa offense trying to find some answers here in Saskatchewan. On National Truth and Reconciliation Week, tremendous effort from the Canadian Football League in all facets and all 9 member clubs. Well, maybe 10 clubs, because the officials as well, they have got the insignia on the back there, and in section 351, they've got themselves the Seat of Truth up top as well. Getting a great look at the game is everyone in attendance, and plenty of orange, reminding us of a tremendous movement around the country here this weekend. As Trevor Harris and the Riders offense deep in their own end at the 15-yard line. They'll hand it off. Thomas Bertrand-Hudon gets his 4th carry of the year, with Reichwald Armstead still sidelined after getting run through by Money Hunter on the last possession.
Well, the Riders right now are going to change things up and maybe go with more of a run-oriented or sort of play-action type offense. They had Albert Awachi out as a fullback on that first down. Probably see more of him with the injuries in the receiving corps. Get to max protection. Give Trevor Harris a little bit more time in the pocket.
With so many of the skill position players being dinged here today, you got a guy who's just been signed in Colton Hunchak, Del Duncan Busby, just his 2nd opportunity to play. They're all trying to make plays for Trevor Harris right now, but he can't get out of the pocket. Saskatchewan imploding up front as Lorenzo Malden pushed the pocket.
One-on-one with Trevor Reed, and another Saskatchewan Roughrider slow to get up, but there's the sack, and watch one of the best in the business go about his business coming off the edge. Just a little hesitation, and then that move to take that step wide to the outside, that turns Trevor Reed. Now he can't get his hands in the right position, and Malden has the angle to get to Trevor Harris.
5 tackles, now a sack here for Lozo as he gets his 6th of the season, which is one better than last year. Of course, had 17 sacks when he exploded back in 2022. Trevon Tate banged up for Saskatchewan, makes his way slowly off the field here, the right tackle for the Rough Riders. Braden Knoll listed as the only backup offensive lineman for the green and white, should Tate not be able to continue going.
Should be excellent field position for Ottawa after this kick. These are the type of plays, though, as a return team, you just do not want to take a penalty here, because it doesn't have to be a big return for great field position.
Well, complimentary football, always the discussion, especially with Bob Dice as head coach in Ottawa. Can they get a sack from Lorenzo Malden? Can they get a return from their special teams unit and then a score from their offense here to bring down the deficit? A 53-yard punt, and Tobias Harris brings it up to the 55. Right at midfield is where Jeremiah and the offense get the football back with 5:30 remaining in the third quarter at Mosaic. The Truth and Reconciliation celebrations here at halftime inside Mosaic Stadium. All over the place you can see a beautiful, different logo being used. For more, let's go down to Brittdorf.
Yeah, and I'm standing by with the designer of that said logo, Chris Chipak, who grew up on the Red Pheasant Cree Nation. That's about 4.5 hours north of Regina. Tell us how you came up with this amazing design.
Yeah, I just kind of, it came to me. They asked me, and it was a time crunch, and they were just like, hey, can you represent us the best way you can? And I tried my best, and my first sketch was the one they went with. And yeah, the buffalo, the land acknowledgement, the feathers. I just wanted to summarize Saskatchewan the best way possible in one image. So yeah, took a crack.
Well, you did a great job at it. When you look across the league and you see all of these Indigenous logos this week, what does that mean to you?
It's a huge step. You know, the fact that the CFL took this huge opportunity, and I hope everyone takes the opportunity to look at every artist, every design, look into those artists. They all tell a story in their own way, and they're amazing storytellers, and it's a great community, and I hope, yeah, take your time to look at everyone.
Well, thanks so much for that great logo, and we look forward to seeing more of your work.
Thank you. All right, go Riders.
Thank you, Britt. Thank you, Chris. And yeah, I mean, he did that on the first sketch.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
I know. That anthem here this afternoon, outstanding. Lots of orange in Mosaic Stadium.
Love the design on the side of that iconic bucket.
Create some awareness.
Masoli with four receivers to his right. Pumps, comes back to the right-hand side, and intercepted. Third one of the day. And it's the former Red Black, Adam Auclair. A first-round pick by Ottawa back in 2020. He goes and gets it.
Fools Jeremiah Masoli because he's showing blitz. He's looking like, hey, I might blitz here, but no. Instead of blitzing, he'll drop underneath it. Different angle than I drew, but he'll drop right underneath it. And Jeremiah Masoli thought he was picked up at the line of scrimmage and that he was actually rushing the quarterback. He tries to throw that dig route to Pimpleton, and good depth on the drop from Auclair.
Happy birthday, Dad!
All right.
60 years old today. Let's fucking go.
Dad gets a colorful birthday wish.
There's Trevor Harris trying to take advantage now to the wide side. Now Duncan Busby. Gain of 20 on the play, and this might be the most important statistic in all of football. And the Roughriders, they own it.
Another three here, a +3 here this afternoon. They were +15 coming in. That was leading the league, and they're just separating from the pack now. 3 picks for Jeremiah Masoli. He's looking at that show blitz going,
Masoli and Pimpleton work it over on the sideline while Harris looks to throw. Goes to that wide side, timing throw, complete, on point that time. Samuel Emlis waiting on the outside.
This is where you get the combination routes with a real nice waggle for Emlis. Pushes his man off, makes him turn, get out of his chair. First down.
Gain of 16 yards on the play. Emlis factoring in large here as they continue to play with outright while Armstead in the backfield. Banged up on that offensive line. Last couple drives as well. This time Awashe, the fullback, is in. Max Protect, get it out to Keen Schaefer. Baker somehow got his hands underneath the football at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, I think that was tipped at the line of scrimmage, but Schaefer Baker kept his concentration. Bennett Williams, who's made some plays tonight, today I should say, gets his left hand on it. It's good concentration. Stick with it. Still got it right off the turf.
Just enough arm strength from Trevor Harris to fight it through Bennett Williams' fingertips. Now Harris stays in, second and short. And Harris trusts the right side of that offensive line with Logan Ferland at center. Working alongside Jacob Brammer back in the lineup. Game time decision today, dealing with a knee injury, but he went.
We're looking at one of the best drives of the afternoon for the Saskatchewan Roughriders offensively, coming off the turnover. Third interception of the game. Trevor Harris, a couple accurate throws. Get this drive started, and now they're in field goal range for sure. But I know they'd like more. We'd all like more from both teams.
A lot of points scored over the last month of the CFL. This hasn't been that similar today, but a lot of checkdowns like this. What can Del Duncan Busby do? Ran into a brick wall. As Bennett Williams right there again, and the defense continues to hit, holding that to a gain of 6.
Yeah, out of Oregon, we've been talking about Bennett Williams a few times. Big hit here as Trevor Harris gets it out to the flat, and good tackle in the open field, but excellent contact right there.
Mueller calling the shots up in the booth here, offensive coordinator for the Roughriders. See what he dials up for Trevor Harris on 2nd and 4. Little play action to Bertrand Houdon over the top, and it is almost intercepted. Running free through that secondary. CJ Colden trying to add another one to his career after having 4, which led the Oklahoma Sooners in 2022.
Yeah, Colden didn't allow the receiver to get inside leverage. He just basically denied it. You see, he just opened up the gate and was running with them, almost ran the route to the post with Sam Emelis here without creating contact and a possible penalty flag. First start for Colden.
Nice coverage by the Ottawa REDBLACKS. The last couple of plays, Bennett Williams makes the tackle. Colden knocks it away on the errant throw, and it holds the Roughriders to another field goal. 15-3, and 5 triples now for Brett Lowther. As Autumn Marclair got the interception on the other end, and of course anybody loves the CFL, and those lots of time spent with the Ottawa REDBLACKS defense.
Very athletic out of Laval. Has a quarterback sack as well with the Riders. Mike Armstead playing against his old team.
Masoli pumps to the left, thought about letting it go. Now he rolls to the right-hand side, nobody home. And Jeremiah's just going to buy time, and then Mardner was the first to touch it. And did it get completed? The flag is down. Should be a legal touch. I think Mardner stepped his heel out of bounds before he dove back into the field of play and was the first to touch it.
Yeah, he did touch it almost like he tipped it to Rhymes. I mean, not intentionally.
Nothing easy right now for the Ottawa offense.
What they rule here. Lots of time for Mazzoli out there, and this ball through the hands of Marner, and Rhymes lying on his back tips it to himself.
I'm not sure Mardner actually stepped out of bounds. I haven't seen a look yet, Suits, that confirms it. What a amazing hands catch that time, laying on his backside by Dominique Rhymes. But they might be taking a look at this one, Command, just to make sure that Marner indeed did not step out of bounds with that foot.
Well, he can't step out of bounds on his own and come back and play the football.
Is there anything else on this play that we could be working their way through, as well as Al Bradbury is the replay official back in the command center?
Yeah, I just didn't see a challenge flag, so I'm not sure. Well, I don't think Marner from that angle, I don't think Marner stepped out of bounds on his own.
Okay, after all this, we have offensive pass interference. Ottawa, number 15. It's a 10-yard penalty. We're going to replay first down.
Well, did you see Corey May's challenge?
Must have been right down on the sideline. I thought originally when the flag came out that Nick Marner was being called out for stepping out of bounds as Corey Mace jumped on the field, but did Rhymes push?
Well, apparently there was a little push there from Rhymes, but is the command center calling penalties now?
Sends the Red Blacks back to 1st and 20 from their own 30-yard line. As the shadows creep further onto Mosaic, Masoli slings it across his body. Haven't said this name in the last quarter and a half. Justin Hardy, a gain of 21, and it's a first down, converting on 1st and 20, and a flag comes out at the end of the play. Did Anthony Lanier just say something that tagged on 15?
Well, apparently back to that PI call. We just got word that it was called on the field as offensive pass interference, and the official just asked the command center to take a quick look to make sure they had that right. But
for the second play in a row, Ben Major has to make a call.
After the play, we have a misconduct foul against Saskatchewan, number 91. We'll go up 15 yards from the end of the play. It's going to be first down for Ottawa.
So a 36-yard swing between the completion and the penalty.
see what happened. I saw Lanier take his helmet off.
It was all tangled up in behind the play. They were walking forward at the end of the play, and the flag came out. So maybe we'll get another look at it. For now, Masoli plays 1st and 10. Rips it outside. Will Pimpleton makes the grab. And it'll go for a gain of 4.
Well, this is very good field position for Ottawa. Let's take a look at what happened with Anthony Lanier, because he's way back here and he's got his helmet off, and apparently he contacts the official when he bends over to get his helmet. And you know, I would suggest we should just stop that kind of stuff. I mean, not from Lanier. Stop it from the officials throwing a flag for that. He bent over to get his helmet.
It looks like that's Lanier's frustration.
And I would add that pass interference, offensive pass interference, to that discussion too.
So Lanier making his case. Meanwhile, big 92 Caleb Sanders that had a sack earlier on in this game.
Okay, enough of that. Let the guys go. Let's go and play some football.
He heads to the sideline. Final play of the third quarter. 15-3. Riders up over the Red Blacks. Masoli pumps right. Steps forward in the pocket. And Masoli is brought down. They mixed and matched their defensive line heading into this one as Baldonado finishes off the third quarter with a huge defensive play, limping around. He's already got the wrap on that knee, but he's in the lineup and starting today because Brian Cox Jr. couldn't go. Deep shot over the top with illness. And right now, the Ottawa offense looks more sick than anything else. 3 points on the board through 3. We head to the 4th when we return to Mosaic. 20 possessions in this ball game between the Rough Riders and the Red Blacks, and 0 offensive touchdowns right now. 6 field goals on the board, and it is Saskatchewan holding a 15-3 advantage.
Well, Saskatchewan's defense is taking the ball away. We saw the 3 interceptions from Jeremiah Masoli, and the Ottawa defense is keeping them close. It's keeping them in it, giving them a chance to come back in this game. We'll see if Masoli can get the offense in gear here, but important game for both these teams. I mean, just to go back to the start of the show, I mean, this is 2 teams that are looking at and trying to secure home field playoffs games. And Corey Mace would like to build on a win in Calgary snapped a winless streak for the Riders. Ottawa does not want to go 3 in a row in the loss department.
Now, this is a monster kick for Lewis Ward. And we'll go from 52 yards away, and Mario Alford will watch it swing through the uprights. The Grey Cup meets the President's Cup. The Grey Cup paid a visit to Royal Montreal on Thursday. And of course, the Grey Cup champs themselves will be in attendance on Sunday after their game. Coming up later on this evening, Sunday's coverage begins. The President's Cup, noon Eastern, 10 a.m. Mountain on TSN and CTV. That's some shiny trophies right there.
Yeah, I get goosebumps just looking at it.
Also, what is the party that's happening at the President's Cup? Did we send Duthie to just like a big golf party? What's happening there?
Probably.
He looks like he's having a great time, as everybody does in Montreal. Is this one completed? On the outside, that's Duncan Busby again. Getting another catch. This one goes for 10 yards as Duncan Busby continues to rack up the touches and yards.
Yeah, he's settling in nicely, Duncan Busby. You know, a drop earlier on this afternoon, but settling in nicely. And as you mentioned earlier, I think it was in the first half, that he's a big guy to bring down. All the DBs are trying to tackle low on him.
Ran well at the CFL Combine this past March as well in Winnipeg. Now he's here in Regina. As another completion to the outside they go. Sean Johnson had the first catch of the day. That's another here. This one goes for 8 yards.
Again, playing the game from the shoulders up. Watch the corner bail here. When the corner bails and opens up his hips like that, Trevor Harris sees that. Takes a second to pivot those hips back to get back into play, and Johnson was on time right at the sideline.
Really crisp route running today from the Saskatchewan Roughriders receiving group. Hasn't always connected with Trevor Harris, but they have been open at various points. As Harris will once again throw. This time it gets jumped and knocked away. What a great burst of the football that time. CJ Colden makes another play.
Yeah, a couple young guys making a name for themselves early on here. Bennett Williams, we've talked about a ton this afternoon. Colden as well. This time he opened his hips to show Trevor Harris it was the same sort of deal, that he had time to throw it underneath him. One was an out, the other was a curl, but almost baited him. That's something for a rookie, 26-year-old, who's listed out of Oklahoma, but as you mentioned, it's in college ball. As a lot of guys do.
And did the 5-year program at Wyoming and finished off at Oklahoma. Is a 42-yard punt here, and Tobias Harris just can't get free. The Riders coverage unit exceptional today, shutting down any hope Ottawa has for a big return. Harris goes for a jog through the bench, and the Saskatchewan passing attack can't get going. CJ Colden played his first year alongside Josh Allen at Wyoming. Makes a play here in Regina. Corey Mace and the Saskatchewan coaching staff watching on, trying to make their way into the playoffs.
So the Lions dropped one last night
complicated
to Hamilton, and so now they're sitting at 14. Saskatchewan Roughriders win this game. They have 3 games remaining, and they take second place in the West as we go down to the wire here.
He's crossover alive and well as Justin Hardy off and running. Biggest offensive play for the REDBLACKS all day long. And for Hardy, he's tackled at the 48-yard line of Saskatchewan on a little pop pass inside that blows up for 41 yards.
Vladeck and Pelios lead this around the edge. They're pulling both, the whole right side of that offensive line, pulling outside to create a wall for Hardy. One thing they miss with Braylon Addison are those fly sweeps. Hardy can do it. Showed you there.
Tommy Condell, offensive coordinator, loves to dial up the horizontal motion as Masoli gets it out. Khalil Pimpleton chops the feet, makes a man miss. Now a second, runs away from a third. It's a first down. A flag comes in late, but Pimpleton making what should have been a 5-yard gain turn into 15 for now.
Now the flag came out after, it looked like to me, after first.
Major foul, face mask. Saskatchewan, number 8, will go up 15 yards from the other play. It's going to be first down for Ottawa.
So that will be tacked on. I was going to say it was after first down was gained because the flag came out after Pimpleton made a couple miss. Let's see if we can catch the face mask there. Well, again, that was okay on from the outside. I thought it was Thurman coming across.
But Pimpleton gets the big play here. First score zone opportunity for Ottawa today. Masoli one-on-one, stutter steps, and then is unable to make the throw. Baldonado is battling through something on that knee, but he's still making plays, flying up the field one-on-one against Masoli that time.
Well, yeah, and he did a nice job, Baldonado, of just staying in the throwing lane and being patient on that one leg. He's kind of battling through it. Lanier's been rotated in and out. He's back in the lineup for the first time in a long time, so they're easing him back in. And they can both be on the field at the same time because of the versatility of Anthony Lanier.
Trailing by 9, Ottawa would love to get a major at this point. And on 2nd and 10, whistles. Blow this one dead as the Saskatchewan crowd was getting into it.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 11:49. 11:49, please.
Toss 20 seconds back on the clock there. Ottawa makes a couple of substitutions and back into the huddle they go. REDBLACKS 4 for 13 on 2nd down. Pimpleton, the lone receiver, to the top of your screen. Masoli evades pressure, rolls to his left, all kinds of time, trying to find someone open, and rifled it into the end zone through the waiting hands of Keaton Bruggeling. The second-year player out of Carleton, rarely used, got lost in the end zone, and Masoli threw an absolute dart.
Well, he almost by design is going to roll out, so he has the option to run or throw, and Bruggeling has a golden opportunity. Does everything right coming back to that hole. He sees the hole in the defense in the zone. He finds that spot, just doesn't finish. I mean, he can't throw it any better.
Both Masoli and Bruggeling did everything right except for the last half second of that play, and it leads to another Lewis Ward field goal, 15-9. Masoli sure frustrated on the sideline. It should have been 6 as Bruggeling nearly had the major. Incomplete, 3 on the board, 15-9 Saskatchewan leads. Well, Bob Dice looking on. East Division still very much alive for the top seed somehow, some way. Montreal Alouettes holding on to that for dear life. And Beauveralls, they're a thing. All of a sudden, the Tiger Cats are hot. You saw Bo last night in the black and gold. 6-9 in the East. Crossover also alive.
That crossover alive. Ottawa still could get to first place in the division, host the Eastern Final. Mathematically, that could happen. They still have Montreal next week. But one possession game, both very important game for both teams.
Flag comes in here as Bertrand Hudon gets another carry. As Reichel Armstead in a sling on the sideline, so it looks like
holding. Saskatchewan number 68. It's 10-yard penalty. Will replay first down.
His matchup against his former club is going to end watching on from the sidelines as the third best team in offensive penalties, just 32 coming in, just took another here for the Riders.
The Riders, of course, want to try and finish strong here, finish this game, get the W, but they're going to have some roster juggling to do in their upcoming week against getting ready to play Edmonton. Armstead out, Bain left in the first half.
Harris, quick game outside, almost intercepted by Damon Webb, but Duncan Busby with his 6th grab of the afternoon.
But when one guy goes down, the next man up. You've heard that many times in football, and Duncan Busby is trying to make the best of his opportunity. And this is tremendous concentration. See, many times receiver will drop that play because the DB's got his hand right in his vision. Nice 21-yard catch and run for Busby.
Damon Webb had 2 pick sixes against Chad Kelly at home against the Argonauts a couple weeks ago. Had visions of adding one here that would have completely changed the feel of this game. It's a completion to Duncan Busby. Now they'll go to the other talented Canadian. Say that all over the place here for the Rough Riders when they're healthy. Samuel Emelis adds 5.
Did get Schaefer Baker back, so that's good news, although we haven't seen a lot of him in this second half as far as being targeted. It's been Duncan Busby or Emelis in the passing game.
Money Hunter with that huge hit on Kean Schaefer Baker. Had him winded out of the game for a little bit. Money Hunter also had the contact with Reichel Armstead that has him in a sling on the sideline. So Harris on 2nd and 5. Looks outside. Keyshawn Johnson spins away and finds enough to get the first down and move the sticks. His 4th catch of the ball game.
Good on Keyshawn Johnson to know where the sticks were. So he's going to work and sort of not press but not cushion either coverage on that outside, but he knew right where the marker was, and that's why the quick spin right there to get that extra 1.5 yards.
Albert Awashe checks into the ball game as Colton Hunchak off to the sideline. Fake the run. Harris goes back to Emelis across the 30, down at the 26-yard line. Emelis has his 6th catch, the first-round pick back in 2022.
Basically, Trevor Harris, I think they made this up on the fly. A little play-action fake inside. That didn't really fool a whole bunch, but may have held the linebacker for an extra second. Wasn't really a route. It was just look at the spot, find the hole, and sit down in it.
We are getting to that point where it feels like Mark Mueller and Trevor Harris are kind of getting on the phone in between drives and saying, I don't know, what do you want to do? Let's just find a way. This time back to Bertrand Hudon, gets low, cuts back, and finds daylight. Touchdown, Rough Riders.
Bertrand Hudon, how about that burst as he got to the hole? Underneath handoff, little cutback right there, and away he goes. Not going to be caught from behind. Nice little burst and cut back into the middle.
As they will go for 2. Bertrand Hudon thought he was going to go to the sideline and have a celebration for a minute or 2, but right back onto the field he goes. 6 plays, 70 yards in just over 3 minutes, and it's a 26-yard touchdown run. Filling in relief. Just 3 carries coming in. No touchdowns, but that his first of the campaign. Harris, 4-2. Play action, flip it out. Keyshawn Johnson, walk it in.
I mentioned at the turn that the Ottawa defense was hanging around, but this time of possession advantage for Saskatchewan's catching up.
Ottawa was at the opposite end of the field with a chance to score. They should have. Keaton Bruggeling couldn't hold on. Saskatchewan gets the football back, and Bertrand Hudon scores the big touchdown. 23-9 Saskatchewan over Ottawa.
Riders right tackle Trayvon Tate makes the key block at the line of scrimmage, and it's on Lorenzo Malden right here. Malden basically has contained, but Tate gets outside leverage on him, and watch him drive him down inside. He drives it in, creates a pile, and then Bertrand Hudon makes a nice move on Damon Webb in a one-on-one situation with no help from the inside out. Malden was washed all the way down by Tate.
For all of the greatness that Reichel Armstead showed in that 200-plus yard rushing effort last week for Saskatchewan against Calgary. Did not have a score. Thomas Bertrand-Hudon has that now and has opened up this game with less than 8 minutes remaining. Tobias Harris trying to get the wheels churning for the first time in the return game, and once again can't get past the 35-yard line as we take a look at the touchdown drive for the Riders.
So the Ottawa REDBLACKS get a drive that started with Justin Hardy's big play. They don't finish it, and Duncan Busby gets the Rider drive going with that concentration early. Throw over the middle to Emelis. And a nice run for the touchdown. 2-point convert, good.
Now Jeremiah Masoli's got a bigger hole to run himself out of, and massive contact running through Khalil Pimpleton. They'll let this play out. And Jeremiah Masoli can't get there in time as it's Fields in the end zone with the football. Looked incomplete on the play unless they say that Pimpleton caught it and lost it.
Well, the officials did the right thing by letting the play continue. You don't want to stop the play. You can always go back and look. All turnovers are looked at by the command center and reviewed. But I'm with you, Marshall. I think that was incomplete. I'm not sure he had it long enough.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Second down.
The fans in house here, I think, see that Pimpleton's going to turn around with it, and that's in
timer. Please reset the clock to 7:36.
That's in a different speed. I mean, you slow it down to that speed, you're going to see him put it under his arm. And we can give you one example of regular speed. Now, Corey Mace is going to want them to take another look at it, and he can challenge it.
Saskatchewan is challenging the ruling on the play. They believe it was an interception. The play will be reviewed.
Now this is the regular speed look at it, and this is what the command center wants to do more of. Look at it in regular speed, and was this a catch or not? Catch or fumble. So that's almost bang bang. If you slow it down, he puts it under his arm, and that's what the fans are saying. If he puts it under an arm, it means he has possession. That means that's a fumble.
And devil's advocate, I mean, the catch at dropping your elbow and turning it, at what point do you basically count it as possession?
Well, that's right? In question right now, and there it is in regular speed.
This is not an easy one for Al Bradbury, the replay official in the command center, and it of course would put points on the board or take them off.
Well, now you know the play or the call on the field was ruled an incomplete pass.
Right.
So they need to see.
And Ben Major has the call from command.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. It's an incomplete pass. Saskatchewan loses their challenge and their first team timeout. Second down.
And the fans in attendance agreed, Suits. Consensus, I think, is what we just heard. So Jeremiah gets the football back. Flips it high, incomplete. Off the mark for Dominique Rhymes. For the fourth 2 and out. And now Ottawa's offense thinking about staying on the field for a second here, having a conversation.
Well, Masoli was the punt team was on its way out for Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
A little early for that.
The result of the play is an incomplete pass. After the play, there's 2 misconduct fouls. 48 Ottawa, 8 Saskatchewan. They offset. It's third down.
Marcus Sales went for a little walk.
Yeah, Marcus Sales saying a thing or two down the sideline. It takes a shot there. That's an automatic penalty.
Yeah, I think that's got special teams battle and a long day written all over it. Those guys have been going after it with each other. So Richie Leone punted away. And Marcus Sales on the field to help and try and spring Mario Alford after a 59-yard punt. Alford going right, going left, going right, and taking a seat just outside the 20-yard line. And a very physical game between these two team suits, and we got a lot of oh my goodness candidates.
Money Hunter on Schaefer Baker. Sales on Pimpleton. Yeah, it's been physical. Defenses creating some turnovers. The Riders defense certainly has, and it's been tough slugging for Trevor Harris in this offense, certainly for Jeremiah Mazzoli, who's thrown 3 picks.
And with his next pass attempt, Harris will double his attempts from last week's victory against the Calgary Stampeders. Twice the workload. Catching up as back to Bertrand Hudon they go, and he rolls off the initial tackle from Money Hunter before Money does finish it off.
Yeah, they may want to keep Money Hunter at safety. Creating some havoc middle of that defense, whether it be against the run. He comes down low quickly. One of the reasons that Trevor Harris early in the game tried to get in behind him.
Harris on 2nd and 6. Looking left, little double move outside. Keyshawn Johnson, he's got it at the 55, trying to run away, cuts back, and Saskatchewan has their biggest offensive play of the day.
We mentioned it in the first half. The possibility, if you could get time for both of these offense with the double move, and finally Keyshawn Johnson does it, jabs his feet, creates that split second where the DB is going to jump up, get out of his backfield, back pedal, and he is in behind coverage. There's your explosion play. We waited all afternoon for a couple of those.
And on his doubling of the workload, Trevor Harris goes over 300 yards as Lorenzo Malden now slowly to the sideline, way behind the Saskatchewan offensive huddle. Keyshawn Johnson as well, over 100 yards, the first time he's done that in his CFL career. Previous max day was 90 yards for number 3, picked up 53 yards on that last play. And now the Rough Riders offense threatening once again, just minutes after the Bertrand Hudon touchdown in this same end zone. Crowd quiets down as the offense goes to work, and Bertrand Hudon bounces through the tackles of 2, now 3. He's inside the 10, and it'll be goal to go for Saskatchewan.
How about Bertrand Hudon just getting an opportunity, getting the football, and doing the most he can with it. I mean, this is 2 things. First of all, the acceleration through the hole, then protecting the football with this lead and in plus territory. Heads up play by number 30, and I don't know, you got your starting tailback for next game?
I think so. Michael Wakefield, another member of the defensive line, is down for the Ottawa REDBLACKS right now. That man right there, Bertrand Hudon, completely useless trivia. He won the short shuttle at the Combine a couple years ago.
Well, he showed you some quick feet.
4.16 seconds on the 5:10.5 shuttle at the CFL Combine. Dominated it. Big body, moves very quick, very smooth, very similar to Michael Chris Ike, another running back that just got drafted pretty early on by Winnipeg out of the same school, Delaware State. Big bodies that can move. Shocking that they would play at a high level when given the opportunity.
4th rounder. Doesn't matter what round you get drafted in or if you sign as a free agent. Get into camp, show what you can do, get a roster spot if you can play the teams, back up offense or defense, earn your keep on the teams, and Bertrand Hudon has done that.
Good to see Wakefield to the sideline under his own power, but you think Bertrand Hudon looked at that 8.3 yard per carry average last week by Reichwald Armstead and said, come on, man, I could do that. 4 carries for 55. The ball at the 8-yard line now. Everyone in Pill Country with their phones out, ready to capture another Rough Rider touchdown. Will the green and white give it to them? Second score zone opportunity. They go back to Bertrand Hudon. Stacked up in the middle of that mess. And won't make it to the 5, give maybe a yard or 2.
Yeah, sometimes
Ottawa called the timeout.
Sometimes there is no hole, so you get that pad level down and drive those legs as hard as you can. Get 3 or 4, but keeps the clock rolling. Running the ball right up the middle.
Damon Webb flying in from boundary halfback. Caused havoc and slowed down the rush that time, and Baron Miles continues to destroy that gum with the stress of trying to figure out how to get another stop.
Well, he needs more than that almost now. Especially the Riders come away with points here. He needs more, like a turnover that turns into a pick 6, something like that.
Absolutely. Harris from the gun looks to throw. Left, back to the right, pressure on, and Trevor gets sacked. That Aiden John with his 2nd of the day out of St. Mary's.
Yeah, I'm going to give the assist here to the Ottawa secondary because there was initially time for Trevor Harris, and he looked. The pressure's created up here. Aiden John's coming from the bottom, so they're going to try and just keep working at it. But see Trevor Harris looking hard to his left, but he didn't like what he saw over there coverage-wise. And, of course, with this lead and in plus territory, doesn't want to force a mistake in that situation.
Late substitution there as Anthony Lanier makes his way to the sideline. So Brett Lowther will hammer another one through the uprights. With just over 4 minutes remaining, 26-9. Sweep 17 wraps up tonight. Playoff implications on the line. It's the Owls and the Argos. Montreal can lock up top spot in the East against Toronto. 7 Eastern, 5 Mountain on TSN. Nadeem Carey, very solid. Speaking of backs like Bertrand Hudon, see if the running game starts to pick up and take control in both divisions as we head toward the playoffs. Masoli takes the screen, gives the draw handoff, and Leyburn makes his way all the way out to midfield. Really solid run for 15 that time.
Yeah, if you're Ottawa, though, this is the time of the game where you're not celebrating after first down runs. You're getting back to the huddle, and because it's not just the Riders now you have to beat. You have to beat the clock.
Leyburn's longest run of the day. Got to do it through the air, though, if they're going to get back in this game. Masoli knows that. The veteran rolls to his right, looks down the field, all the way into the sun, and Jeremiah steps out of bounds. And just his 7th start since the start of 2022 when he came over to be a member of Ottawa.
3-down football the rest of the way for the Red Blacks. Need a couple scores to get back in this one.
Jeremiah doing what he can with the legs. Picks up 8 yards, leaves 2nd and 2. Outside in, and Masoli finds his target. Jalen Ackland makes the grab, gets a first down, and that will be the 3-minute warning as Saskatchewan is taking control of this football game in the 4th quarter with Thomas Bertrand Hudon at running back. Setting the tone, some physical runs. Harris doubling up his workload from last week. A couple of big explosive plays as well, and the Roughriders trying to deny the Red Blacks their playoff berth here today. You are looking at the Mohawk Institute Residential School in Brantford, Ontario. Enoch Muamba and members of the Toronto Argonauts roster visited earlier on this week. It's going to run as a feature coming up at halftime of the Alouettes and the Argonauts game, which begins at 7 p.m. Eastern over on TSN. But some harrowing tales out of that building that I'm sure that feature will capture. And we'll bring it to you coming up as part of our Truth and Reconciliation coverage here on a CFL Saturday. It's out to the sideline, caught by Dominique Grimes. Another big collision. Jameer Thurman running his way back into the play, but Dominique Grimes, another first down for Ottawa. Just the second catch for Dominique Grimes.
Full out blitz from Saskatchewan, and Jeremiah Masoli is going to give up some ground to try and get somebody open. He finally gets Grimes open. It's the first down, but the Riders secondary is going to be playing off and giving these receivers more room underneath.
Brown to the sideline late here as Khalil Pimpleton tries to pick it up off the turf just inside the 20-yard line. They'll say he does for a gain of 7. Deontay Williams on the coverage.
Sure, the command center is taking a quick look to see if he actually caught this pass. And looks like he did.
Pretty good catch radius for a 5'8" guy. Pimpleton seems to find his way to the football, as does Jalen Acklin. Most often when paired with Jeremiah Masoli. Another Ottawa first down, and their second score zone opportunity nears the 10-yard line.
Yeah, very different when your defensive backfield is playing off. I mean, you can see playing soft and basically saying to Jeremiah Masoli, we're going to give you all the underneath throws you want, even if you get down and score, because you're down by more than one score.
Roland Milligan calling the shots on the back end. Masoli looks left, comes back right, and rips one to Khalil Pimpleton. His second touchdown of the season.
I think Corey Mace might discuss with the defense that he wants them to play off, and he wants to force Masoli to throw it underneath, but he doesn't want them to stop playing. You know, and I think you could look at some of the guys back there, even Milligan, just kind of dropping into their zones and not really reacting to the throw of the football.
Lewis Ward adds on the extra point. And it's 26-16, minute 56 remaining. After a 6-play, 70-yard drive, and 11 yards to Khalil Pimpleton from that man, Jeremiah Masoli, is the major.
So they probably go with onside kick here, but you take a look again where Marcus Sales, I mean, they drop off. They want him to throw it underneath. They get kind of soft and almost relax. Pimpleton goes, wow, I haven't been that open all night long.
Well, and how easy did it look for Jeremiah Masoli?
Yeah.
Got into rhythm, backpedaling, flip it, and all of a sudden just bursts out of his hand.
Well, they're playing off, and they want him to throw it underneath, but not stop playing. I'm sure the defense was reminded of that. Finished strong the final 2 minutes. Yeah, it'll be onside kick time. The Ottawa REDBLACKS will load up one side or the other, try to kick it 10 yards and be the last to touch it out of bounds. The Riders set up their onside kick return team.
With Mario Alford playing middle return as well, standing back at his own 40-yard line.
That front line is there to try and create some interference so the receiver and Emelis can snag this or tip it out.
Hanging up in the air and too far from Lewis Ward. As flags come up.
Got to give him a chance. I mean, even if it's short, there's Lewis Ward, who has been so good all season. I mean, coming in, he was at 90% in field goals and one of the most accurate kickers in the league's history.
Illegal kickoff out of bounds. Ottawa, number 10. It's going to be Saskatchewan's ball at the 43-yard line, first down.
But that first kick, the first field goal, would have tied the score at 3-all real early in this game. He didn't hit that very well and missed that one. And then this didn't give his cover team even or his onside kick team even a chance here. Skies this one. If you're going to be short, you got to error on the other side that it's not close to the sideline, but no chance for a recovery there.
Trevor Harris back to work. Bertrand Hudon alongside him, and in full ball security mode now.
Yeah. And run the clock mode.
I gotta say, I don't envy the life
Timeout.
of a professional football kicker.
Ottawa, this is their last timeout.
Travel thousands of kilometers. The ball comes off your foot wrong twice in the day, and you have to fly back just shaking your head.
Yeah. Well, it's all a mental game. It's like golfers would tell you the same thing. It's, you know, you're thinking about your feet, your footwork, your plant foot, and you shank one right out of bounds and go, well, no, what happened there?
Well, Lewis Ward will talk it over, and I'm sure be getting practice reps in his head all the way back to the nation's capital. The question is there anything the Red Blacks can do to try and climb their way back in with a 10-point deficit in just a couple minutes remaining? Already in field goal range for Brett Lowther. Having a monster day, by the way.
Well, the Red Blacks haven't lost 3 games in a row all season long. Lost to Montreal last week, and then Hamilton the week before that after the win against Toronto. So Saskatchewan, they get Edmonton next in Edmonton, but finish the season against the West, Edmonton, BC, and Calgary. So they can basically eliminate Calgary and Edmonton from the discussion.
Shea Patterson and the short yardage unit come out here with 90 seconds remaining, trying to close this on their own terms. Patterson slides his way down the line of scrimmage to the right, falls forward, and that should move the sticks.
Move the sticks. Another 3 downs to grind the clock. So if you give Saskatchewan the win, and even though, you know, we've seen some miraculous comebacks, we're just gonna pencil it in. That's pencil. But because of that tie against Ottawa back early in the season, 22 all, that 1 point may be a difference maker in the standings before it's over.
Nothing like a good tie to shake up the standings in the playoff push.
Well, I mean, when we were talking about the tie earlier in the game, we were saying that no one knows really how to feel about those things because no one wins and no one loses. But for the Riders at that time, they had lost 2 in a row to Montreal and Edmonton, tied in Ottawa. So that stopped sort of the winless streak. Then had some issues for 4 straight until the Calgary game last week, and now they've got 2 wins in a row under their belt.
Injured Ottawa Red Black down on the turf here as Lorenzo Malden out on the field in support. But now in the last 7 games against Saskatchewan, Ottawa is going to fall to another loss. They came in, Sask, 4-1-1, so that'll make them 5-1-1, dominant in this matchup.
Corey Mace was asked a bunch before that Calgary game last week about the Saskatchewan Roughriders not winning after Labor Day since 21.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, and I kind of felt for Corey Mason in all of those questions, and we asked him too, but in all of those questions he's going, well, I wasn't here for those.
Please don't blame me for something I wasn't.
Well, he wasn't really saying that. He was taking accountability because he wanted to change it, and he did last week against Calgary, and now 2 wins after Labor Day, a chance to take 2nd place in the division. If the playoffs started today, Saskatchewan would host a playoff game.
Isn't that amazing?
Corey Mace's first year as their head coach.
What's more amazing, Saskatchewan hosting a home playoff game, or Winnipeg being in the #1 spot in the division after the way their season started?
That doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. They're well-coached, championship caliber team, and they were going to figure it out.
Bertrand Hudon gets another carry on to his day, and now they will send out Brett Lowther as Hudon gets a little smile after some surprise work here. to close things out, but did a heck of a job.
The puzzling team for me in the West is the Lions, the BC Lions, and I just keep looking at that roster and thinking they're better than what's happened over the last 3-4 weeks with them. I mean, and I should add that they go out to Victoria and win that one, and then to Montreal and beat Montreal in Montreal, the best team in the league. So,
and a home loss to Toronto, right? And then it's Hamilton comes in, finds a way last night. Is Lowther
hard to figure the Lions out.
Makes another one through 29-16 with 17 seconds remaining. And Masoli will shake of the head on a frustrating day for him after throwing 3 interceptions. And even though they didn't hurt Ottawa as much as they probably could have with Saskatchewan's offense not taking advantage, man, it certainly felt like it kind of stunted the momentum that Ottawa was trying to grow offensively this afternoon.
It really did, and it was plays made by the Rider defense. It wasn't, bad decisions by Jeremiah Masoli. You think of the Roland Milligan one. He let Rhymes get open, and then after the ball was thrown, tracked it down and won the jump ball. Marcus Sales fooled Masoli with that drop off of his man and basically his zone responsibilities, dropped under that corner route. Nice pick there. So, and then real deep drop by Auclair on his interception. Again, good plays made by the Saskatchewan defense, and they love having Roland Milligan back.
Maximize their potential today, and Masoli paid the price. Zach Fillion on that one, signed back onto the Rough Riders roster earlier this week, and one more time Roland Milligan comes out, standing alone atop the Canadian Football League in interceptions is number 0.
So you get to vote for MOP right now. Let's hear your finalists. Roland Milligan's got to be one of them. Tyrese Beverett.
He's up there. Has to be. Yep.
Bo Levi Mitchell.
Suddenly out of nowhere. As Pimpleton gets picked up and dropped on the outside, Deontay Williams, and a flag comes in, and now Dominique Rhymes frustrated by the suplex of Williams, and this is going to lead to more than just penalty flags.
Yep. The supplemental discipline here. No question.
Get the bench back! Get the
As Ben Major tries to separate Ottawa and Saskatchewan. And Reichwald Armstead has a conversation with his former quarterback, Jeremiah Masoli. So Pimpleton up onto his feet, which is good to see, but here's what sent Dominique Rhymes sprinting across the field.
Yeah, not necessary. Just bring him down. You don't have to. Yeah. Just not necessary. Supplemental discipline for Williams. There's been a couple of GoFundMes in Saskatchewan.
Flags all over the front of Saskatchewan's bench with just 6 seconds remaining in this ball game, and maybe Rhymes trying to be, I guess, a veteran leader in order to set the tone for his team and get a little bit of energy back into their week. But you can feel the frustration bubbling over, not just because of what happened to Pimpleton. Only a couple of catches on the day, and Gary Johnson Jr. and Justin Howell trying to talk Rhymes down. But Ottawa, they just want to clinch that playoff spot. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2018. And they haven't been able to get into the win column to close it out the last 2 weeks.
Well, Rhymes probably be lighter in the pocketbook too. I don't think there's any question about that with the retaliation, but
Sean Johnson talking it through with Trevor Harris on the sideline, while I'm sure the command center has the unenviable task of going through replay to see which players need to be ejected. Grimes.
Yeah, he'll be one.
Proactively knows he should head down the tunnel.
Well, I mentioned the remaining games for these two teams, and they won't face each other again this year unless it's possibly in a Grey Cup game.
Yeah. Grimes heads down the tunnel. You have to think Deontay Williams might be getting a pair of objectionable calls as well.
Well, there's no question why Dominic Grimes. I mean, he went over there to.
Yeah, you get one for the run over and one for the face mask grab, and you're done for the day.
Yeah, he's.
Williams.
Supplemental there for sure. Williams as well, because that was unnecessary to body slam Pimpleton. So he'll go. Lose some of his paycheck. Physical game, frustrations happen. However, the team that is most disciplined.
All right. We got 2 fouls. Both players are disqualified. Saskatchewan, number 24, has a UR and a disqualification. He's gone for the rest of the game. Ottawa 15 has a UR. That's his second one. It's a misconduct. He's also gone for the rest of the game. We're going to go from where the play ended. We're going to go up 25. It's going to be first down for Ottawa.
So just 2. But I was going to, just to finish the thought, I mean, if you look at the standings and you look at the teams with the fewest penalties certainly after the whistle, which was an issue for the Riders over the last couple of years, not under Corey Mace, not necessarily this year, but the team that is most disciplined wins more games. I mean, those things come back to haunt you.
Jeremiah Masoli throwing on one of the final plays of the game here as he rolls to his left. And this one's complete. Keaton Bruggeling tackled from behind. The clock strikes 0. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 29-16, the victors today against the Ottawa REDBLACKS, who tried to come in and secure themselves a playoff berth. They won't be able to do it once again, as Trevor Harris once again takes down the team that he used to call home in Ottawa, as the Roughriders ended a 7-game winless slide after Labor Day. Just last week against the Calgary Stampeders, they upped it once again here today, trying to clinch a playoff spot for the first time since 2021. This won't hurt, as it's the Argos and the Alouettes coming up for you on TSN, as they look to solidify their playoff spot, perhaps the top of the East Division for Montreal. For Glenn Sleeter and Britt Dort, I'm Marshall Ferguson. Thanks for watching from Regina.